My name is Shamika Mattress, and I am here to give you a speech about blood type. So, I have a few questions for you. Raise your hand if you know your first, middle, and last name. Raise your hand if you know your social security number by heart without looking at your card. Raise your hand if you know your address, phone number, and zip code. Now raise your hand if you know your blood type. Nobody knows their blood type? So those personal identifiers that I ask you about, your full name, your birthday, your address, are things that we normally know, whether your parents have taught you to memorize it or if you've memorized it on your own. But the question is, why don't we think our blood type is something that we should know? It is a very important thing that you should know because it could be a life and death situation regarding your blood type. If you are in an accident, if you have to have a transplant, if you have to have surgery, these are things that you need to know, and your blood type is very important. I am here to give you info about the history of blood typing, describe the ABO blood group, and tell you how you can find out your blood type. So beginning with the history, Dr. Carl Landsteiner discovered the ABO blood group, which includes type A, B, C, and it was later named O. His co-workers later discovered type AB. A few key terms that I'll be using are antigens, antibodies. I'll talk about red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and what blood is composed of. Okay. Blood is composed of 55% plasma and 45% formed elements. The formed elements include red blood cells, which are used to transport oxygen and help transport carbon dioxide. White blood cells are used for defense and immunity, and your platelets are used for blood clotting. Antigens are glycoproteins on the red blood cell membranes that are genetically determined. Antibodies are accompanied by plasma proteins and act against red blood cell antigens that are not present on a person's own red blood cells. According to Chapter 17 of the Tri-County Technical College Bio 210 211 Anatomy and Physiology Manual, I will explain each blood type. If you are told that you're type A, that means that you have the type A antigen present, the anti-B antibody is present, and that means you can only receive type A blood and type O blood. If you're type B, that means you have the type B antigen present, the anti-B antibody is present, and you can only receive type B and O blood. If you are considered type AB, then you have type A and B antigens present and no antibodies. So that means you are a universal recipient and you can receive AB, AB, and O. But if you're considered type O, you have no antigens present and you have anti-A, anti-B antibodies in your plasma. You can only receive type O blood, but you can donate to every other blood type. Look at your handout that I've given you. And that tells you in America how many people have type A, B, and so on and so forth. Also, when considering your blood type, you have the rhesus factor. That's where, if you ever heard of somebody say they're B positive or B negative, that means that the protein on the surface of the red blood cell is or is not present. According to, I'm going to give you an example about the rhesus factor. If you have a baby, the mother is Rh positive and the father is Rh negative, the first conception of the pregnancy will be fine because the mother will create antibodies to protect the fetus. But when she has the second baby, the problem occurs because the body is not used to those antibodies being present, so it uses those to attack the fetus and cause problems. You can now get an injection, which is called the RhoGAM injection, to prevent that, but you have to know that you're Rh negative or Rh positive in order to get it. If you get the wrong blood, you'll have symptoms of fever, chills, vomiting, kidney failure, and even death. How to find out your blood type: you can either go to your doctor, you can donate blood at the Red Cross, If you've ever had any surgeries or have had a transplant, you can request your blood type through your medical records, or you can purchase a home kit. I think blood typing is important because I've worked in the medical field for 8 years, and it is kind of astonishing about people who don't know their medical history or don't deem it important to know what their blood type is. I hope that I've given you information that will help you want to learn your blood type. That's all she's getting.